Hey YouTube, Ron here from BBM Reptiles. Cleaning ball pythons it's a daunting task and it's a heavy chore. Sometimes you want to find something to occupy that time while you're basically going through each of your snakes. Be it listening to classical music, some badass heavy metal, or freestyle. And then again, if you're in my case here in Puerto Rico, it's either drowning out the roosters or some random animal running in the backyard. But mostly, sometimes you want to hear other breeders and other keepers talking and going through their collections while you're actually cleaning. Well, guess what? This is one of those videos, except the rooster part. Guys, I was going through basically most of my snakes, and the first thing I wanted to do is basically put music on while I was actually going through everything. But sometimes you're going through the same playlist and it's already tiring. And most of the times you're already caught up with everyone about what's going on. So you need something to listen to. So I figured, you know what? Maybe let me just change this video, do something a little bit different. And while I actually start cleaning my snakes, I'll talk and we'll have a conversation, or basically it's gonna be a once-a-week conversation. But I'll probably throw in some random things while I clean, and this basically maybe there's something that I've never mentioned, or maybe something within this you could pick up on something. Who knows? But while you're also watching this video, as you are also cleaning, if you're in that process, let me join you in that journey while you're doing it, and you can actually join me while I'm cleaning mines. Anyway, excuse me once in a while when I turn my back. Like I said, this is going to be it's going to be a different type of video. It's going to be basically a freestyle, free thought, spur of the moment conversation. And I might say some flubber things, or I might say anything crazy. Mostly, I'll probably say something that won't even make sense. But what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to roll with it while I actually pull out each snake and clean. And that way we'll have something to talk about, or you have something to listen to when you're in the same situation of cleaning. So again, forgive me if I turn my back. I might be out of screen or anything. But like I said, it's going to be a different type of video, just basically going and talking through everything that I'm working with. Now, what I'm actually doing right now is, because we are in breeding season. We're in breeding season, and something that I'm always worried about is I try not to disturb the pheromones that the females are basically releasing as they are mating with the males. And something that my good friend Rob Bearclaw always talks about is the rhythm of the room. Is I want to make sure that basically every other snakes that has the potential to grow follicle for breeding picks up the scent of other females' pheromones, and obviously the musk of the males that are basically trying to lock up with the females. So I have to take like very limited times when I actually do a deep cleaning and space them out between like a week or maybe 2 weeks before I actually lock up the females or start pairing up again. Now, most of the snakes that I have for pairings, they already made their locks, and I usually give them like 3 to 4 weeks before I attempt a second pairing to see if they lock again. So I still have at least a 2-week window to play with, which is perfect because it gives me time actually to deep clean most of my racks, and then basically feed them again, get them basically settled in for when I actually place the male back. So this is something, and basically you'll see different things, and as I pull out each snakes, I'll talk about it, and I'll talk about different morphs and what my ideas or my plans are with specific projects. Now, I started with the first one, and like I said, I was listening to music, but it was the same tracks that I was always listening to, and I got tired of it. And I figured, you know what? Let me listen to a YouTuber or any podcast, but I'm caught up. I'm caught up on most of them. So I figured, you know what? Let me do something crazy. Let me just talk and make my own. So let me see. I started out with this one. I'm going with this. Well, actually, here. You're going to actually come along, and I'm going to try to show you what I do when I deep clean. Now, something that I'm actually doing new here, as you can see, I changed my racks. I will try to do a room tour in a future video, which gives me more content to actually upload. But I need to actually talk about this, the cocoa husk. The cocoa husk is something that's brand new brand new for me, typically breeding or using here in Puerto Rico, because what I usually do is I always work with the cheapest thing possible. Newspaper print. Newspaper print is something I've been using for the past 10 seasons. And I don't see a reason why not to use it, because basically it's very, very inexpensive. It's practically free. I walk into any supermarket, I walk into any gas station, I'll pick like a big stack of newspaper. The funny thing is that when they see me pick it up, they're actually glad that I'm picking up, because it's usually stacks of papers that they're holding up until basically it gets recycled or thrown away. Most of the time it's thrown away. It's hardly ever recycled, and that's a sad reality. So either way, I'm picking them up and I'm using them for the bedding and the substrate for my ball pythons. But ever since I actually came and I moved to this new environment and I invested in these ARS racks, I noticed that basically I had to change this, because my humidity actually would be dried up, because I'm running a 24-hour controlled environment. And as you know, mainland, you're gonna get dry air. You're gonna get dry air, something that we never typically experience here in Puerto Rico, or myself breathing, because I was going off ambient temperature. There I go, going off talking. Well, anyway, what I'm gonna do is, because now it's time that I'm deep cleaning, I am actually getting rid of the cocoa husk, and at the same time I am actually going to, let me put this to the side again. Like I said, you can see a close-up of my ugly mug because I have the water drain behind you. The cups, I love these cup holders. The cups I throw it away, and I am going to empty out, the tubs. And what I like to do as I do this is I basically spray it down with F10. I do like a mixture and stuff like that. Oh my God, I gotta stop doing that. I keep saying stuff like that so many times. But anyway, I spray it down with F10. There's that random dog that I was talking about. No roosters, just dog. I had to let my dog outside while I was actually doing it, because if he was in here with me, he'd be knocking everything down. And that's the other cool thing is, I invested into a beautiful Doberman Pinscher, and if any of you have those dogs, you all know it's a Velcro pet, and they are basically needy. They're needy animals, and go figure, I'm a needy person, so I needed something basically to help me out and balance my emotions while I live a regular day. And what I say about balancing my emotions, that's probably the main reason why I actually have not been uploading videos in such a long time. And as some of you do know, those that have been subscribed longer in my channel, I lost my daughter. And that's one of the main reasons I actually do not stop working ball pythons. It's hard actually not to actually, talk about things like that and not tear up or choke up, and I try not to. In my earlier times in YouTube, I was very, very committed to the growth of my channel, and this is pre-COVID. And I was like, forget it. I was on top of everything. I was excited like you had no idea, because I was discovering new combinations, new projects. And this was before COVID money. This is basically when it was guaranteed, passion. I was proudly participating in YouTube videos with 3 other great breeders. Richard Barclaw, which was in England. Rob Barclaw was in Malaysia, and my good friend and brother Shane Kelly, Small Town Exotics. At that time, he was in Bakersfield, and I was excited basically the growth of YouTube. We were all starting out, as a matter of fact, at that time. And this is something that this spray right here, as a matter of fact, just changing topic. This is mite prevention. So I like to spray down the tub. I also actually spray down my animals. I like to spray down my animals also. Not too much, but just a little bit, and I basically spray the table. So that's mite prevention. So anyway, right here, let's see what we have here if I can remember without looking at the tub. Okay, over here, this is a het red axanthic, which is also known as a green pastel, which is also known as a lorry. And this is a triple het lavender albino genetic stripe piebald. And this is a male. So I'll show you one of the snakes as they basically rub down the spray. Now what I try to do is basically I never spray the face. And this spray basically you can spray directly on the snake. And there's something that I actually use for the room, which is something that you could probably pick up at Home Depot. These are hot shots. And what I do is basically I keep 2 of them in the room on each side, and I change it out every, I would say, month and a half. Let me go on the other side of the camera because I want to make sure I'm recording. Yeah, it's recording. Imagine me going on and on and on and the camera wasn't even on. So anyway, going back to the story, I was extremely excited at that time, and this is like 2018, 2017, I believe, when I started actually dabbling with my YouTube channels, and basically, you know, the 4 Horsemen was started. Something that my daughter would do or would say is that she noticed that I was always inside my room where I would have most of my animals, all my snakes, all my ball pythons. And every time she would visit me, because she knew I was always in the room, she would leave me notes. She would leave me notes in a tub or in a closet. And one of those notes, actually, I actually got the chance, because I got so emotional because of what she wrote, I read it on the YouTube channel. On that previous channel that I had, that I lost the whole thing. And it was a real emotional speech. As a matter of fact, it was a reason why I actually started doing YouTube before this YouTube channel that I have right now. And just to basically go back to that story of that previous YouTube channel, the reason that I did YouTube channel is because I also lost my father when I was 16 years old. And unfortunately, he took his life. And I was a little kid at that time. 16, trust me, you're still a little kid. But before that, my father used to record on VHS tapes. And for you new guys, you new millennium kids, you're not gonna know what that is. But if you could think back of a Blockbuster before DVDs, VHS was basically what everyone would use to record. So my father would basically record different things of himself, singing, dancing, doing different things. And this was before his passing. I took that video cassette. I was looking for a blank video cassette because I wanted to record. I was like, I don't know, maybe 14, 13. And I wanted to record, I remember the cartoon, the Thundercats, because we just got a VHS. And I wanted to record the Thundercats. And I just grabbed any random tape and I put it up there. and I recorded the Thundercats. 3 years later, my father took his life. 2 months down, while everyone was basically processing everything that happened, they were looking for that tape. They was like, wait a second, Dad recorded himself. I remember it was a party, you know, we Puerto Ricans, you know, we drink and play dominoes, you know, so they were like, we have that tape. So everyone was around the table, you know, and put on the tape, and, you know, they're talking about it. And when they put play on that tape, the Thundercats came out. Man, did I get it. Did I get it. Well, anyway, next snake. This is another female. This is a female. The other one was a male. This is from that project, triple head, lavender albino genetic stripe piebald. This is a female. Again, going through the cleaning. Get rid of this. So, after the yelling, the scalding, the sensation and the guilt that I got from my family, because what I did, I had no idea, well, that stood with me. That stood with me for a long time. Fast forward, Ron Heisenberg's a father. Ron Heisenberg is trying to basically create those crazy memories that his kids will never forget. Because like I said, I went through a traumatizing situation. And I figured, you know what? YouTube would be great. I mean, like, I got a snake. I could talk about it. Other people have snakes. I can learn from them too. I would just go do YouTube, and BBM Reptiles was started. BBM Reptiles was started, and I was, like I said, to the point of excitement of basically showing what I was working with, and I was learning a lot, and my goodness, I have to say that one of those, I mean, like the main thing that got me started, not only actually starting to keep and knowing that there was a lot more to offer in the world with these type of animals, was watching Snakes by TV. And it's not to be repetitive, but it's what started the passion of not only seeing someone else, you know, working with animals, but also saying, hey, you know what? Let me do a channel too, talk about my passion, which was the ball pythons, upload it, and at the same time, have a memory that my kids can go back to if anything ever happens. You know, they could say, look at Dad, look how crazy he was. Look how silly he is and stuff like that, you know. And they'll have something there forever. So, my daughter, at that one time, she left me a beautiful message. A letter. And she wrote that she loved visiting me so much because it was a different environment for her, and it was her safe place, somewhere that basically she could, I guess, detox from, I guess, any, you know, burdens or worries a random teenager could be going through. And she would love to see my drive. She would love to see my passion working with the animals, and she would joke around and she'd tell me, these snakes one day, they're going to be mine, right? And, you know, when you get your kids and they want to get involved in what you're doing, obviously that's like a win-win, honestly, because it kind of, you know, forget what everyone else, when they talk about why you're keeping snakes and stuff. So I was like, of course this is going to be yours. Of course. So in that letter that she wrote me, she was telling me that basically, you know, she admired everything that I was doing and how strong that I have, and that she has noticed that me always being in my snake room, me always looking at YouTube, me going to Morph Market, me contacting so many different breeders worldwide, talking about this, the drive and everything. It was my safe zone. The same way basically her visiting and spending time with me was her safe zone. That's why she chose basically every time she would visit me, she would always leave something for me to find. A note, a letter, whatever. She would always do that. I would drop her off at the airport. She would fly back to the States. She'd fly back to Florida. She would never tell me. And then when I would drive back home, the first thing I would do is I would go into my snake room. And I would find a random letter. So that letter, I read it on one of my YouTube channels. The one that was erased. And that meant so much because basically I sent her the link and she wrote back to me, and I still got that message that she bawled when she saw it. She, because that the random dog that I tell you about, the animal, was probably running after a lizard or something back there, because I got like those big green tree iguanas. So it's either that. So anyway, YouTube served its purpose. I put something up that impacted on someone that I really wanted to reach. Besides basically trying to create an audience or like-membered people within the hobby and talk about this, but most importantly, I'm leaving memories for basically those specific times. So now, when I lost my daughter, my goodness, I can't even talk about how much and how many people within the reptile community helped carry me along. I started a GoFundMe because no one puts a life insurance on their child. No one gets to do that. No one goes that forward. No one thinks about that, because we're always thinking that we're the ones that's going to leave. And that was the main reason why I started. My channel was to leave something, a legacy. Not taken away from Brian and his aquarium, but basically it's like what he says, and it's so true. You never stop living. You live as long as your need keeps being repeated. And obviously that's what I was trying to do. Leave an eternal impression on them. So basically in their eyes and their hearts, I continue to live through. So, go this way. Again, deep cleaning. The next one I got, you're going to see a lot of these. This is another one. I have this is the project, another one that I'm working, a triple head. Again, lavender albino genetic striped piebald. And this project, unfortunately, I've actually not grown it the way it should. You might see she's pretty big and stuff, but with so many different projects and recessive projects that I'm working with, some of them have more priority to be seen more quicker. So this one actually is not pushed that forward, even though it's a triple recessive, and the possibility of actually hitting a triple visual is a lot more easier because I have 6 females to 1 male. So basically, again, we're going back to that. The more you have, the better your odds of producing a visual, even if it's 1. That's all I would need, is just 1 male to go back to 6 females. Something I always do is I throw away the cup. Empty this out. And back to F10. So anyway, the reptile community was incredible. I got so many people that reached out to me, a lot of people that helped me with donations. And you know what the funny thing is, and I gotta say, this is what really makes the reptile hobby worth worth its weight in gold. You have no idea, out of every hobby that there is out there, and there's a lot of them, most of them you got to invest and you got to put a lot of money in, but you don't see anything back. I remember before my daughter's passing, someone locally here on the island had a very tragic accident. This was a young person. He was like 23 years old. He had a family, he had children. And he was driving a 4-track, those ATVs, and he had an accident and he was paralyzed. So his brother was just starting in the reptile community and starting having snakes, keeping like a ball python. And they wanted to do a get together to raise money to help out his brother, in the situation, and at the same time help out his family. And I donated at that time, I donated a snake, and I donated, as a matter of fact, it was, my goodness, this was in 2015. I donated a leopard head clown, proven breeder male. That male actually started me all my clown projects that I have right now was a result of that leopard head clown male. And I only used them for 1 season. And I basically produced 50% heads, and from there I grew up my clown collections. So I was still in full need of that male. But because I saw a situation, I wanted to help the best way that I could, and I donated that leopard head clown in 2015. And let me tell you something, it sold for a real pretty penny. I mean, like, they sold that in the event. Other breeders were actually donating things at the same time here locally, and that actually sold, but mine sold the most. And it wasn't that I was looking for recognitions or anything like that, because I gave it anonymously. I gave it anonymously to the person, and it was sold at the event. The only person who knew it was the person that I gave the snake to. So right there was my first experience of giving back to the community, giving back or being participant in helping others out. Then I went in 2017, I went to my very first reptile expo, which was Tenley. My very first. I mean, like, starting out in 2012 with a pastel, and then basically, growing up from there and seeing YouTube and watching everything and not experience what a reptile expo was. 2017, as a matter of fact, that I do have it in my YouTube channel. In this previous one, I think you could go back and you could see that one. But I went to an expo. And I bumped into so many my YouTube legends. My YouTube did I show this one off? Yeah, I did. I've seen so many people. Brian Cusco, Justin Caboclo. Even though Justin came to Puerto Rico a few times and I've seen him here, I got a chance to touch base with him over there also. Garrett the Meyer. My goodness. Ozzy, I saw Ozzy there. Brian Gundy, my goodness. Brian is like the most genuine, humble person that you could get in contact. And my first encounter with him was at that Tinley Expo. And Brian always basically checks up and talks and reaches out to me through Instagram. Brian, I appreciate you a lot. Brian Cusco. Which basically he called me out. This is the funny thing. Brian Cusco called me out because I said his name wrong in another video in that other YouTube channel that I had that I don't have anymore. It was erased. And I said Brian Cusco. And when I walked up to him and I said, Brian, can I do a video with you and stuff, like a interview? I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I seen you. And I was like, yeah, I dabble with YouTube. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's Costco. And I was like, dude, I'm like a little kid walking into the candy store and I'm seeing chocolate for the first time. And I'm fanboying on everybody, that I'm seeing there. And I laughed. When he called me out on that because I pronounced his name wrong. But anyway, in that expo, in that event, that was when Chase was going through the brain tumor. And I remember like it was yesterday. And that's, a matter of fact, that's when I did a follow with Brian Gundy. It was so funny because, they got the buffet right there in the, when you pay the VIP on Friday and you go to the after party with the auction and all that stuff. And I remember right there on the table, Brian calls me over and he introduces me to another incredible human being, which is Earl Jones from Long Star Reptiles. Earl, I love you. He introduces me to him. Oh my God, you're snapping at me. Check you out. Yeah, I know I'm talking a lot, but that's the reason. Because what I'm doing is I'm giving content for people while they're cleaning. So like I said, I'm talking different stories, like I said. Because you're cleaning, I'm cleaning, so there's something we can listen to while we're doing the same thing. So he introduces me to Earl Jones. And we're joking around because, me and Earl, we're, good sized men. So, we're trying to figure out, what's good for people our sizes and Gert to, pick on the table. Then Justin gets on stage. And he talks about the overwhelming support that the community actually shown to help Chase with donations for the operations. And thank God Chase, he came through with flying colors. And something that Justin said was that this reptile community is like an extended family. And that speech, like I said, this is my first attending, my first expo. I'm seeing all these great people and stuff like that. And I'm also seeing the humanity, the compassion that I didn't know that there was in keeping snakes. That's what a lot of people don't get the chance to see, because sometimes they're focused on projects, they're focused on making money, they're frustrated because their projects don't go through. But it's more than that, because let me tell you, we all want to make money. We all want to make a clutch and sell it to basically make a return, to basically invest in something new, be it equipment, be it another snake, or be it swag, be it whatever and stuff like that. We all want that. I understand that. I get it. But when that's your main focus, your main drive, you'll be frustrated so quick when you're not reaching it. That basically, that's why you see a lot of people jumping ship. That is why you see a lot of people giving up on this and saying, this is the worst hobby. It's overrated. It's oversaturated. Nothing, it doesn't make sense. There's no money in this. Ball pythons are done. It's a done project. Everyone already made their money out of it. Throw this one away. This is another one. I believe this one, as a matter of fact. This is the female version. Het red exantic, green pastel, triple het lavender albino, genetic stripe piebald. Maybe I don't know. A red exantic would be the super form of the het red exantic, dreamsicle, genetic stripe. Anyway, going back to that speech that Justin made, it was a beautiful speech. And that resonated with me so much that it carried on. Fast forward to 2020. Remember when I was talking about the peak of the passion, creating YouTube, the 4 horsemen, the excitement, the fun, the jokes, the humor that I always try to put in each of my contents and my videos. I would joke around, I play different things. You know, it was so contagious that, you know, we started doing it in the 4 horsemen videos and the collabs we were doing, we were going crazy with that. And there's a video. There's a video that I can't look at. March 4th, 2020, I uploaded a video of breeder tips and tools, how to prepare your breeding season. I was so excited basically when I uploaded that and stuff like that. I was proud. I was like, damn. I didn't know I didn't know myself I put in that much effort to breed ball pythons. That was the day my daughter took a life. When I got the call, I ran like a banshee. I got in my car because my daughter was staying, she was visiting, but she was staying in the grandmother's house. I got the call, and it was like a good hour and a half drive. It was a good hour and a half drive. And me thinking that, you know, it was, you know, she tried, she didn't get a chance to actually do it. It was like an attempt or anything like that. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. On the way, I called the 4 horsemen. I called Shane, I called Rob, and I called Richard. And I'm talking with them, crying on the way where I'm driving, not to go crazy, hit another car on the way and stuff. I get in contact with my brothers, the people that I connected the most with within the hobby and stuff like that. And I contacted them while I was driving, you know, saying, guys, I need prayers, I need prayers, I need prayers, help me out. You know, I'm going through this. Then I get there, and it was true. My daughter had took a life. And what got me so mad is, as soon as I drove up, all I saw was people standing outside the house. It was full. It was like a block party. If you're from New York, you remember those block parties. And I saw an ambulance. I hung up the phone with the guys, and I got off my car, and I did the calmest, most collective walk, eternal walk through the multitude of people, like they didn't exist. I just walked, made my way through everyone, and I went to the house. And the police were there. There were like 8 of them. And they closed up the area. Obviously, I try to make my way to go to where my daughter is. And the cops were telling me that I couldn't go through. I, again, try to make my way to my daughter. And they sit shoulder to shoulder like a barricade. And then one of them reached for his cuffs. I went to the biggest, tallest cop there. I mean, like, I'm 5'8". This guy was like 6'2". I went up to this biggest guy, the cop, and I just hugged him. I hugged him. And I told him, I'm a father. That's my daughter. Please, let me through. He pushed the other cops to the side and he let me through. I lied on the floor with my daughter. She was still warm. She was still warm. I don't know, but I still have to believe because I experienced it. I lied down next to her and I was telling her it should have been me. It was supposed to be me. It was supposed to be me. And I don't know, some would say that it's basically the release of body fluids, but a tear came out. A tear of eye came out. Anyway, next thing. I remember I stood there for a while. Until the funeral home came and collected my daughter. And like I said, we're not prepared for something like this. We as parents, we are never prepared. We never think anything like this would happen. So I don't have life insurance or anything like that for her. And, you know, I'm a regular person. You know, and I told the funeral director, I was like, listen, I don't have, you know, much, but please, you know, please take care of my daughter and I will collect with our family and that stuff. We'll get the funds or whatever and stuff like that. But I wanted her taken care of. It was like, this is not the time to talk about that. Don't worry about it. We'll do everything. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. I get in the car. The first person I call when I get back in the car is Rob Berkow. I call him directly. Because Rob, even though, you know, we each individually have a connection with each other, you know, within the Four Horsemen, me and Rob and stuff like that, we would talk a lot. And I would appreciate Rob's wisdom a lot. And he was my conversation as I drove back to the house. And I remember as soon as I got home, I just broke down. I didn't get no sleep. I just broke down. You might think this has nothing to do about snakes, but it does. It actually does. It's a long story. I said it from the very beginning. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna keep going on. But I want you to, you know, get something out of this. Um, the following day, I go to the funeral home, and the funeral director was like, "Okay, this is the case. This is the dealio. This is the dealio. We need to collect X amount." It was a lot. It wasn't that, don't worry about it. It was a lot. And it says we needed this amount before they bring us the body. If you cannot come up with the amount, or if you get donations from family members and stuff like that, we'll put you on a payment plan, and when you look at it, it's going to be 40% on top of what the price of what the everything would be. And I'm there with the mother of my daughter, and she was asking me, what can I take? And I told her, whatever you want, whatever you want for my daughter. And I saw, and this is a messed up thing. I mean, like, I know it's a business. Everything, every commodity has to have a sale pitch, and they'll give you, or they'll implant the demand of the product to sell it. But damn, there's some assholes out there that really, I mean, like, motherfuckers. He goes off and he tells my ex, "Oh, this is preventing water fluid to come in, and you don't want bugs and animals and all that stuff." You know, he's making it. You know, he's making his sale. He's trying to make his sale. And obviously, well, she took the most expensive thing. So I'm walking out of there, and I was like, "Damn, man, how the hell am I gonna come up with that money?" And then I remember that speech that Justin did and the expo. So what I do, I created a GoFundMe. I made a GoFundMe, and I contacted that gentle, lovable, helpful soul that I met on the line, picking out devil eggs and talking and joking about our waist size, which was Earl Jones. Earl pushed that GoFundMe. And this is the thing, I did not ask for an exaggerated amount. I just needed help. The rest was on me. This was my daughter. I didn't expect anyone to cover the cost, but I needed the help to at least go with what the funeral home was asking for. So I just put a very low figure. I put $5,000. That's it. That GoFundMe, as soon as I talked to Earl, I remember I was waiting in the airport at 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning. I was waiting at the airport. I called Earl at 2 in the morning, and I told him what happened. I was at the airport waiting to pick up my other kids. And Earl said, "Ron, you don't worry about it. I'll take care of this. I'll put this out. This is a great community. We're all in here. We'll help each other out. That's what we do. That's what we're all about." Trying to do my Texas voice. He pushed that. I mean, like, when the midday came, it already reached its goal. It reached its goal in under 12 hours. I was shocked. I was like, whoa. I mean, like, I got donations from so many breeders. I got donations from so many people who didn't even know me. I mean, like, of course, I had the presence on YouTube, and there was a lot of people that followed me that they donated. But there was other people within the hobby, within the community, that helped us out. And gosh, I was taken back. And when I showed to the mother of my children, I told her, listen, don't worry about it. Don't even ask your family. I got it. I got it. My extended family from the reptile community, they stepped up. Not taking away the other help that my oldest son actually also did. Not taking away the help that my brothers, my real brothers, my biological brothers helped me out with. Not taking away friends and ex-co-workers that actually also helped out. But the amount that the funeral home was asking for before my daughter was brought to the funeral home, that was through the extended family of the reptile community. As a matter of fact, even here locally, I reached out to Kenny Aponte, Royal Genetic Reptiles. I reached out to him and I told him, listen, can you help me sell some snakes? Because I need to make money, you know, to cover everything else with the funeral. He didn't get back to me. He didn't get back to me. Next up, Banana Cinnamon Head Dreamsicle Female Maker. I'm trying to see if I could get her to breed this season. Again, getting rid of the water. Throw this away because we got to put a new one. So anyway, he didn't get back to me. I was like, I wasn't basically focused on why he didn't get back to me and stuff like that. I was just focused on trying to, you know, get the rest that I needed to do, you know, because like I said, I wanted to put my part. I wanted to, you know, I didn't want to rely on other people to solve my problems or anything like that. I like I said, I was my daughter. It was my you know, responsibility, my you know, obligations to see her everything through. Then Kenny shows up. Royal Genetic Reptile, remember that name? I mean, like, I know most of you already know him. He shows up to my house with 2 other guys. And I was shocked. I was like, what you doing here? I was like, listen, we did an auction here on the island. And we want to give you this check as a donation. I was like, dude. I told you to sell my snakes. Told you. I was like, no, man, don't worry about it. We got you. He tells me, we got you. That's here locally with the people. Even because, let me tell you something. In this hobby, it's also a hobby that's full of competitiveness. You feel like you have to compete with someone that's with you and stuff like that. Even though you could be great friends, there is still that feeling of competitiveness. That you got to make that project before someone else and stuff like that. We're all trying to, you know, we're all trying to get to that, you know, we're all trying to get that golden ticket. We're all trying to get that golden ticket. So basically, you're gonna, you know, ruffle up feathers. You're gonna get someone upset because you're working a project that they invested in and they try to keep it on the down low. So basically, sometimes you're gonna get hate locally. Even the people that I did have disagreements here locally at one time, they also chipped in to help me out. And he asked me, you know, he wanted to do the reading of the raffles of the people that actually donated and stuff like that on a live on Facebook, and if I was willing to, you know, come out. I was like, of course. I had to thank them. And when they were going through each of the snakes and stuff, and they were raffling each of the snakes that everyone donated, like I one time did in 2015 that I donated a snake, you know, it comes back to you. You do good, it comes back to you. paid forward. After they were finished doing the last snake that they had, I was like, wait a second, you're not gonna finish this. I went to my rack and I got, at that time, the best snake that I had that I was holding back. And I said, listen, I want to donate a snake. This is like a bonus, because this was my intentions from the very beginning. I wanted to do my part. And I gave a snake. And I remember the person that was on the other side of the cell phone that was making that live, he was in tears. He was in tears, He was in tears. I gave that man a hug. A man hug, one of those good, strong man hugs, but an emotional man hug. So, fast forward, beyond all that, my drive, my passion was gone. It was depleted. There was nothing left. I couldn't continue making videos. If anything, I kind of contributed. Maybe that could have been one of the reasons why the Four Horsemen stopped doing, because Richard would always ask for videos. And I would tell him, listen, I can't. I don't have the passion. I don't have the drive. And they were obviously understanding, and they would put it off. Sometimes I would, they would give me like two months before I'd actually do a collaboration. And as I was less active and less active, I can't say that was one of the reasons. I really don't know, but it stopped being the Four Horsemen. Each one went their own ways. And me on a personal level, I stopped uploading to YouTube. You'll see like a huge gap. As a matter of fact, if you go through my YouTubes, you'll see a huge gap. But one of the things I had to come back and do is I had to do a thank you video. A thank you video, and sometimes a extremely passionate video, talking about basically how grateful I am with the reptile community. Every time something comes out, a US ARC notification about abandoning in a different part of the world or anything like that, I get, I said, listen, I gotta defend this. I gotta fight for this, because I got so much back. I mean, like I said, the reptile, the extended community that Justin was talking about, the extended family, you guys carried me when I couldn't walk, when I couldn't even walk. You guys carried me through all this. But again, like I said, the only thing that can actually maintain this hobby is the passion that you have, and it has to resonate. You have to connect with people. The people have to see that passion, and they want it because it's so contagious. How can I talk about ball pythons? How can I do anything if there's no passion, there's no drive? There's not going to be any emotions. I can't actually, I can't deliver on what I'm working with. But I didn't want to stop, because like I said, that letter that my daughter had once written me, this was my safe zone. Working with ball pythons was my safe zone. So I sheltered myself within this, and I disconnected from everything, from people. And then guess what? COVID hit us. So basically, everyone was in shutdown. Thank God, being a breeder and stuff like that, and being so reclusive, we weren't in need of contact with other people. But at that time, I did need it. Going back to the snake hobby, the snake community, that I was already part of. I was never left alone. Even through lockdown, people already knew me. People were contacting me. They were writing me. They were calling me. They were checking up on me. My extended reptile family. So if there was any growth behind the scenes over the years, it was in memory of what my daughter saw in me when I was basically starting out with ball pythons. If there was any continuation of working with snakes, it's because of the people that I've met within the hobby. If there was any reason to basically go through divorce, earthquakes, moving, the market, not being able to move animals and stuff like that, that so many people get frustrated about, that wasn't a factor for me. That wasn't a factor for me because this meant a lot more. You know, these animals meant a lot more. Now I had to work with the passion. How do you get that back? And I gotta be honest with you. My drive and my passions died the day my daughter left. I can't get that back. But I can try to continue to live in her memory of what she saw in me, and she saw what these snakes actually meant to me and how they were my safe zone. So in memory of her and keeping her alive in my thoughts and always mentoring her, going back to what I'm doing, I'm transported into that time, hoping that I'll find like a little note that my daughter would leave me in one of these racks or one of these tubs saying, "Dad, I love you." Every time I open up a rack and I look at a snake, I think of her, and I think of everyone in this community that helped me through all this. And you know, go to the next snake. My God, what? Shit. I only been on to what? I only been to 5 tubs. I only been up to 5 tubs. Next snake. What the heck is this? Banana head dreamsicle, a female maker. Anyway, you know, I'm an emotional wreck. And I guess any little news of someone going through something so difficult, it just takes me back of my own pains, because you start to be sympathetic to everyone else's pains. And then you see that video that Brian is going through. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I would love to trade places with you, Brian. Not because of what you gave and for this community and stuff like that. Is that basically, you know, I'm going through a pain that it's hard for me to, you know, just to go on. And seeing someone that wants to live and is fighting and really wants to enjoy and everything, and I gotta say, you know, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard what his family must be going through. But they have no idea how blessed that man is. And I'm going to explain it to you. The most important thing is that he made peace with himself and he made peace with God. But this is a man that toured the world. He lived every kid's dream, every adult man's dream, woman's dream, every reptile keeper's dream, every animal lover's dream. And let me tell you something. Forget the shit that he's done, wrong, and all that animals that people, are frustrated about. We're not perfect. We are not perfect. We're all gonna mess up. We're all gonna fuck up. So, stop nitpicking. Stop nitpicking. Because if you look in the mirror, I'm pretty sure that you have a history. You got a closet. I got a closet. I got a closet full of fuck ups. We all fuck up. But that man is so blessed because he had something that I wish I had. He had the opportunity to say goodbye. He had the opportunity to spend his final moments with his family. And he's at peace with that. I didn't get the chance to say goodbye. Most of us, we always take advantage that we're always going to have a tomorrow. You know, we argue, we fight with someone. We're like, nah, I'll make up with them another time. Or I'll see him another day. Which is why, again, like I was talking about, why I started my YouTube videos from the very beginning of my first attempt. Was because I wanted at least something that someone could go by, and that way that would be my goodbye. But Brian has been blessed because besides doing what he loves, building a passion, building a legacy, because of him, there's a lot of people like me and a lot of people like you that are watching this video, is that he helped discover a passion that most of us didn't know that we had, you know, with these animals. So I gotta continue until my time. Until it's my turn. So until it's my turn, I'm gonna keep feeding snakes, working projects, and you want to know something? I'm gonna keep talking about what this hobby has to offer, because it's not about the genes, it's not about the snakes, because if you think about that, it's not even about the money, you know. But and again, you need the money to make the projects. If you don't have the money, you can't get into the projects. I understand that. But this hobby, besides it being self-sustained, because obviously you're gonna make something that someone needs, and that's gonna help you get feeders, it's going to help you get equipment, and it's going to help you upgrade to the next project for the following season. Besides that, it's also a community with extended family members. So I'm very, very passionate. Again, I have a reason, because I've gotten so much back from this. I've gotten support, I've gotten love, I've gotten friends, I've gotten extended families from this. That is the most valuable thing that I've actually gotten back from these animals, this hobby. And that is what's going to continue fueling my steps forward and my projects growing. And it's also going to help a lot more people go through whatever situation, be it economical or financial, or they're worried about the market being crashing or anything like that. It's going to help you go through it, because you're going to see beyond that. You're going to see beyond that. You're going to hold on to a lot of snakes. You're going to find a way to get through it. You're going to find a way to feed the animals. You're going to find a way to help someone else. And believe it or not, you can only grow if you help someone else grow, because that way your growth is built on other people's growth. And this hobby has that potential. I've seen it. I witnessed it. I've got connected to the point that basically there's nothing more exciting. There's not a passion more fulfilling than basically walking into a show, meeting up with family, because that's what we all are, you know, talking about snakes and driving your family and friends crazy and stuff like that, trying to understand why you keep doing this. You know, there is a reason. They're not going to see it, but when they see the outcome at the end, they'll start to get to understand it. And eventually, those people that are coming new into the hobby, they'll get to see that too. And they'll experience the growth of what this community really, really, really is. Anyway, I got to get back to cleaning, and I just want to basically do something to talk about while you guys are cleaning and stuff like that. And I figured, you know, I get a lot more further, but I'm only up to the 3rd row. So thank you again for taking the time for stopping by my channel. I'm sorry about being too soapy about all this stuff, but you know what? There is always a backstory, and there's a lot more than basically that 3 gene recessive that you saw, and me explaining how to identify each morph. What I'm actually doing in this video is identifying the true value of this community. Thank you again, guys, and until the next video, I will see you in the next one.